you've ever chased your kid down like a deer and wrestled them like an anaconda just to change the diaper, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, please. I would say that the biggest reason for us to start this channel is to document Anna's progress, especially with her autism. She's going through a few therapies right now. One is speech therapy and the other one is behavioral therapy. We're, of course, hoping to add in others like occupational therapy later on. But we want to document where she has come from to where she goes, just everything in between. That way we can contrast and compare later and just enjoy the progress that Anna has made. And obviously us as a family as well, because we're learning a lot. We didn't know anything about autism whenever we first got the diagnosis. She was diagnosed in March of this year, and just the short, quick definition, I guess you could say, of autism is the impaired communication and social interaction like disorder. They definitely, there's a huge spectrum, and there are children all over the spectrum. Some are little, some in the middle, some at the very end, and some have intertwining things. Typically, it involves with communication. Sometimes it's lack of, or they're just way too what some people might think is as shy, awkward, or quirky. And then also other things on just as like eye contact. Maybe they don't want to make eye contact, or they do other small silly things that other people aren't accustomed to or wouldn't understand if they've seen it. So we want to learn from our mistakes through this documentary. Obviously, if there's something that that we could be doing better or differently, please let us know. We're learning as we go. We're trying to learn from the therapist, some of the research we do on our own, and the school that Anna will be going to. Actually, she will be starting in 2 days. So on the video, the next video that comes out, hopefully I'll be able to give you more information about how her progress is going with school and being on an individual education plan. An IEP is what they call it here where we are from. We also just want to share our journey. We understand that having a child that is diagnosed with autism can be very life-changing, not just for the child, obviously, but for the family as well. A lot that we don't understand and we had to take in, and it really changes your whole life and just how you perceive your child in a different light. Not in a bad way, but obviously we have to communicate with our daughter Anna differently, and whenever she does communicate back with us, it's that much more special and just really hits us in the heart whenever she talks to us. So we love to hear her voice. But also we want to make this documentary, I guess, or have this video journey with other people so that they can share with us as well. We just like to have a good, positive, and open community. Share your stories with us. If you have an amazing story or even a bad story, share it with us, and hopefully we can learn something from that. We have read stories where there are children that have been making great progress from ages 4 until they were 9 years old, and then all of a sudden at 9 years old they just went mute. They, not because they couldn't talk, but because they decided they didn't want to talk. So from 9 years old till 16 years old, they never said a word. So that's some stuff that it is a fear for us, and obviously that's something we want to try to prevent. However, Anna is her own woman and she is her own mind, and she's going to do what she wants to do and what makes her happy, and we are just here for the ride, and we are going to try to make it as comfortable for her as possible. Some of the other things that I'd like to just kind of inform you guys of is, so whenever we got the diagnosis, she was only 3 years old, and before that the signs weren't as obvious as some people may think, especially from that 1 to 2 year old range. I mean, there's just so much that could go on or not go on, things that she was doing or not doing that we saw some of our other friends' children that were around the same age doing, and we're like, well, why isn't she doing this? But there was other things that she was almost more advanced and ahead of the other ones on, so we're like, well, maybe she's quote unquote a normal child, but and she's normal on her development. However, maybe she just doesn't want to talk, or she just doesn't like to talk. So we kind of pushed it out until the age of 3, and then once we went to her 3-year-old checkup, we decided, I think now's the time to go ahead and at least get tested, see what the the autism people say, we went to a specialist, obviously, and she was diagnosed. It was, like I said, life changing. It definitely has put us in a different world that I appreciate things in a different way, and I actually kind of wish that I had experienced something like this a little sooner. So just because you read online about some of the signs for autism, sometimes it's not that obvious when you're looking at a baby and a very, very young child and toddler. It's probably a lot more easy to diagnose when they're closer to 5 years old or older than it is the younger ones. Because, I'm sure even people like yourself know of other babies. Some can walk at 6 months and other babies aren't walking till they're 2, and like all kinds of other crazy stuff where kids just are all over the page in their journey as far as how fast that they learn or don't learn something. So we noticed some things that, like, she didn't talk very much, or she didn't laugh as much as some of the other babies that were close to her age would. She laughed, but it was just in a different manner, and I noticed it. So it wasn't concerning, but it was definitely noticeable, like I said. So some of the other things that we also noticed now is that she knows her numbers. She knows how to count from 1 to 20, and she knows how to recognize them. She knows how to recognize like 1 through 10 very easily. If she just sees the number by itself, she'll be able to repeat it. She knows her colors. We just found out she knows her months the other night. Whenever we were putting her to bed, she just started rambling off her months for no reason. And she just knows a lot of other things that were definitely great, that her developmental process is still going, because she knows her animals, she knows food and fruits and vegetables and all kinds of other things that we weren't always aware. Sometimes it is hard for her to be kind of like, we didn't really have a great area of stage in her growth where she would repeat things on commands, for like, Anna, say giraffe. She might not say giraffe, but a week later she'll see a giraffe on the TV and just say giraffe for no reason, other than obviously she's seeing the giraffe, but not because we're trying to command her to say it or get her to repeat it. But she knows the word, but up until then we wasn't sure she knew the word. So then that leads us to believe, how many other hundreds or even thousands of words does she know that she just doesn't say? Those are other things that we're thinking about. So that's just part of the other things that we want to let you guys in on with this documentary and our journey. And there was this one family that I seen on YouTube that their daughter uses an iPad to communicate. She has other developmental, maybe not developmental, but she has other things on board as well, other than just autism. But she uses an iPad to communicate, which is a really great idea. And they also use a form of sign language, not exactly American Sign Language, because again, she has other things other than just autism. But I thought it was really awesome that they would make their own variations of American Sign Language that would adapt to her capabilities, so that they could communicate with her. So those are other things that we may end up using later on in the future. Obviously, I don't know a lot about American Sign Language, and I obviously don't know a lot about autism. So that kind of makes me wonder, where's the fine line of when do we revert to or add in American Sign Language? Because this might just be a random fear of my own, but what if we teach her American Sign Language and she decides in her own mind, like, I don't like to talk, I don't like to communicate, and I don't like the socializing part of it. So I feel she feels more comfortable just doing sign language. I don't have a problem with just using sign language. I don't have a problem learning sign language. However, she's obviously our daughter. We love her cute, squeaky voice, and we would love to hear her talk and have a quote-unquote normal conversation over American Sign Language, if that option is possible. And just the same as using the iPad, if possible, we would rather her communicate with her voice than revert back to an iPad. However, those are great options that are out there if she decides she doesn't ever want to talk, or if one day she just stops talking, or who knows, or maybe there's just words that she, in her mind, decides that she can't say or won't say. Those are still options out there that we'll use as well. and hopefully document it for you guys so that you can see where we're at, where she's at, and if we decide to do it and why we decide to do it. And if you're a family with a child with autism, or even just a friend, or you have other family members with a child that has autism, this will help you to learn and understand their world a little bit better. All right? See you guys next time. Speaking of a certain beautiful little girl, Anna, can you say hello? Do you want to say hello? Hello, crazy hair. It's so early in the morning, isn't it? Can I have a kiss? Thank you. So with her autism and her social disorder, sometimes she won't even give us a direct kiss. She'll just give us her forehead or a cheek to kiss instead. Which is why, again, those special moments whenever she does just give us a direct kiss or speaks to us and communicates her wants and needs, they just mean so much more. Anna, can you say bye? Say see you later. She just woke up, and she will be 4 in 3 months. So we are also going to have to start planning her party soon.